All right, all right, all right. Welcome back, everybody, and good day, fellow hoteliers. Welcome to episode 270 of the Hotel Marketing Podcast by TravelBoom. It's going to be an awesome show, and we can't do the show without some awesome people. So I'm the host, Pete DeMeo. Hello, everybody.
Hey Pete, I'm Mackenzie. Super excited to be here today.
And I'm Jeremy. Howdy, y'all.
Hey, I like that. Jeremy's got his southern accent on
Southern
today.
twang.
Yeah.
He does. So if you're not watching on YouTube, which you should be, because we are now on YouTube for every single episode, it actually drops before the audio edition. And while he's not wearing a cowboy hat right now, maybe Jeremy will start wearing one in the future. If I have to sing the Newsaroo song, we have to get him to do that as well.
We have to do a Halloween episode. That's a
We do.
must.
That's a little ways away.
Yeah.
So,
It's
do
good
you
to start
know
planning
when?
early.
Yep.
Yes. So you want to talk about planning stuff early. When this show drops, it is going to be the day before. Actually, I'm sorry. It will be on April Fool's Day, and this is not an April Fool's episode.
No,
So,
there's
right.
nothing to joke about here.
So no, there's not anything to joke about because what we're going to be talking about is robots, and robots don't joke around. So
Mm-mm.
that's what we're
AI
talking.
is no joke.
It isn't. So, and that's actually what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be talking about the AI revolution, and it's moving so fast. I thought it would be good to kind of take a step back and make sure that the hoteliers who are listening, we give them a insight into what is happening. And a lot of times you may not know where to start, but you know you want to. This is going to be the episode for you. This is going to give you the tools you need to start using AI in the way that makes sense for your hotel. We're also only going to be talking about OpenAI's ChatGPT. There's a lot of other platforms, but to keep this episode within the confines of a little bit less than an hour, we're not going to go into those other platforms. But you know what else is pretty cool? We are going to be talking about some questions to get to know the cast a little bit better. So we're going to play a little game of Would You Rather. Does anybody want to play?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, Mackenzie, you were happy first. So, would you like to read the question, and then Jeremy, then Mackenzie, and then I will answer this? Would you rather?
Sure. All right. So today's would you rather question, of course, is related to hotel marketing. Would you rather market to Gen Z using TikTok or to boomers through email only? You can only choose one. I already have my answer, but I'll let you guys go for it.
And you are going to ignore the other market, right? Is that what you're
Yep,
saying?
one or the other.
Gotcha. So I
Oh,
can't say
interesting.
I'm going to market to boomers through like Cricket mobile phones or anything like
Nope.
that. Okay.
It's Gen Z on TikTok or boomers on email.
Ooh, all
Pick
right.
your poison.
Jeremy, what would you do?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, if I'm gonna go for the money, I'll probably go boomers and email. But if I'm gonna go for the fun, I'll go to TikTok. That's tough. Honestly, I think I might go TikTok just because I feel like you're more on the offensive with TikTok. Like you're trying to reach that demographic more and maybe be more creative than with boomers where you're just a little more, yeah, here you go, here's the same old, which I know you can be creative with email, but I don't know, TikTok is such, at least for me, is such like a different frontier. So it'd be interesting to like dive into that new channel or different type of channel.
I agree. I think the direction that things are moving, if we want to be proactive and on the offense, like you said, I think TikTok's the route to go. But I also think it depends. I'm putting myself in the shoes of a hotelier here. So if you're a flag property, email with boomers might work a little bit better. But if you're an independent resort, like a wellness type of lifestyle resort, you're going to kill it on TikTok. So I guess it really depends, but for me personally, I'm going Gen Z all the way. Pete, you're muted.
There we go. I thought this was going to be a harder one. I know Mackenzie, you had picked this one. I think it's amazing. I was in the same boat as Jeremy, where if you need to drive revenue right now, and that you're a hotelier, you'd almost have to say, I'm going boomer email 100%. but then you have completely alienated the people who are going to be the majority of the people in your property in a very short amount of time. So I think in my world, I kind of have to go TikTok too, just because there's more tools, right? You can obviously just do the standard stuff. You got the organic, you got paid opportunities, you got TikTok shop. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. I think that will resonate with boomers, not boomers, I'm just say Gen Z, to get them moving. But I think I'm cheating because I do think that there's more people than just Gen Zs hanging out on TikTok.
For sure.
So yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think. So now that we're on YouTube, go ahead and comment down below. I think that's how they do it.
Yep.
And yeah,
You're
tell
an
us what.
influencer, Pete.
Hey, look at this happen. So, and let us know what you guys think, because if you like the would you rather concept, I think it would make a kick-ass show that everyone might enjoy if we come up with some good ones. All right, so that's kind of the intro, and like we did say, we are on YouTube, but also obviously on the podcast for iTunes and everywhere else. So I definitely say this: if you're enjoying the show, click the subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell notification to be notified when new episodes drop, and just definitely share some comments and hear what you guys, the listeners, think. And you can do that over at travelboommarketing.com, which coincidentally is the same place you can get the show notes, which is at travelboommarketing.com/podcast, and simply click on 270 and you'll have everything you need. All right. I feel like I've been talking this whole show and it's not going to change anytime soon, unfortunately, because now I have to sing the song. So with hotel marketing that cannot lose, now it's time for News-a-Roos.
Woo! I think we need like a sound effect button where I can do like claps and stuff.
Well, you know what? I think you're going to be happy because we have this. So watch out. We got sound effects too. All right. So today's news item, and I'll go ahead and kind of read through this and get your guys' thoughts. But this is from Boutique Hotel News, and it's actually from back end of February. But it says Google just made it harder for independent hoteliers to compete. Interesting article, and what it's talking about is how Google is ending the commission-based model for Google Hotel ads. The position that the author is taking is that's going to disproportionately impact independent hoteliers, because with that, the Google commission model sunsetting, it means that a hotelier is going to need to make sure that they are on some type of meta search platform in order to be seen on that network. The CPC model is going to be there. The organic model is still going to be there, but that pure commission-based model is going to be going away. And it actually takes place right this year, or should say in the month of February. So it's already happened. I don't know. To me, it's an interesting article, but Jeremy, I would love to get your thoughts on that. I don't know that it's that big of a deal personally.
Yeah, I mean, the article kind of states that the commission-based strategy was very much like a low maintenance approach, which was nice for properties that didn't have like a big budget or a ton of money to spend. Like, you're only going to be spending if the booking happens. No, I think in that case, there are some drawbacks. The fact that you may be limited in your spending when you're using a commission-based model. So I actually think CPC, I mean, if you're looking to spend as much as you can, then CPC is going to really be more beneficial to you. But I do think that this just proves that, I mean, you need to, if you think you're going to be hurt by this commission base, the sunsetting of this, that you need to be focusing efforts on other channels as well to get those direct bookings. Obviously CPCs potentially are going to be higher. Bookings may be lower, and you actually may be able to spend a bit more, but that conversion rate may drop a bit. But again, this is all part of strengthening your marketing in all channels or across all booking channels where you can. I think this just kind of proves that, or just pushes hoteliers that they need to be not just focusing on one channel. You need to be looking at others too, whether it's organic or traditional paid search, anything there where you think that it's going to benefit you.
Yeah, and I think that's honestly the probably the salient point of all this stuff is if that was your entire method of driving bookings, then you had a lot of other problems too. Uh, we live in a world where you really do need to diversify your booking streams as much as possible because stuff goes away. Keep in mind that that platform was not a hotel's platform; it was Google's platform that they're using. They're giving to hotels to use. That can go away just like any of the channels that you're participating in can be shut off. You may have something as simple as a GDS issue and your OTA rates are disrupted for a little bit. You need to make sure that you have multiple channels that you're driving bookings, emails, not just for the boomers, TikTok, Facebook, social, organic, paid, meta, all of those things play a key role. And if one of them were to go down, like we see here with the commission model, it's not going to be end of the world for you. You just got to shift your model a little bit.
Yeah. And that free booking link is still going to be there too. I mean, it doesn't mean just to completely remove yourself from that GHA strategy.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
there's still opportunity there. It's not something where you should just completely just say, all right, we can't do this anymore. I mean, there's still reason to be visible there, to at least to put some efforts there and to test as you move forward if you were using commission-based and to try different bid strategy types. So, but obviously, like you said, Pete, I mean, the whole thing is look at what you're doing holistically and, like what are you, where do you need to improve or what do you need to be working on?
Yeah, that's so true. And I mean, Jeremy, you know the data better than probably anybody, but even if you're an independent hotelier and you just have the free organic listing, it does drive a lot of bookings. When we look at that and we slice it out by the paid meta search and the free meta search, you need to be on that platform regardless, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that was the news, but now we have room for improvement with Mackenzie, which we don't
Awesome.
have a song for. Maybe
Yeah.
you can sing one for us.
We can work on that. Not today. Let me think of one. But yeah, super excited to do this segment. This is like the most fun part of the show, in my opinion, not just because I do it,
Little
but
bias.
yeah. But today we're going to be hearing from Fuzzy Popsicle 9960 on Reddit Hotels. So you guys know we love to read the usernames. They're always something interesting. But this is about their stay at a luxury hotel with no hot water. So they wrote in, "Hello, I am currently in El Nido and stayed at one of the luxury resorts here. I've been here for about a week now, spent most of my time in the town, but wanted to treat myself for my last night. I splurged on a room for almost $450 compared to the $100 I was paying in town. To my disappointment, my room had no hot water. I tried showering around 11 p.m. last night and again this morning around 8 a.m. To add to that, the water had a disgusting sewer smell to it. I brought this up during checkout, and they weren't really interested in rectifying the situation. They suggested that I talk to Expedia instead. In my past experience, this is a classic runaround. What would you do in this situation?" So I have a lot of thoughts. And apparently the people in the comments on this Reddit thread did as well. People are really mad at Fuzzy Popsicle for not immediately addressing the situation. And I can say that I kind of agree with that. To mention it when you're checking out puts the hotel in a position where they can't immediately go fix the situation. They're forced to offer some type of compensation or reimbursement. And I think that's where things get a little sticky. I do think the hotel passing the baton off to Expedia is kind of like a scapegoat for them. But I do think that Fuzzy Popsicle should have addressed this earlier on, whether it was calling down or visiting the front desk. I mean, there's a multiple different ways to do it. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, to me, this is kind of crazy. One, if there's no hot water, you would probably want to, like you said, reach the front desk, let them know what's going on. But two, why would the front desk say, "Oh, you should take this up with an OTA"? It's like
Yeah.
I don't think the OTA is working on the hot water heater at 11 o'clock at night.
Well, and it was interesting because there were multiple comments of people saying you should have addressed it. And the OTA is responsible for handling it. And to me, I agree. It just makes no sense. They're not responsible for the hot water at this property. But
Mhm.
I do think that Fuzzy Popsicle dropped the ball, and Fuzzy Popsicle said, in their responses to people on the comments as the rebuttal, they're like, well, I tried it at 11 p.m. and I thought maybe it was just an issue that day, which is why I tried it again in the morning. Okay, so you've
Mhm.
now tried it twice and it's not working. You gave it some time. I
Well,
think
she
that,
was only there for a day.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
she, Fuzzy Popsicle, I don't know if boy or girl, but they would have had to have, gone to the front desk at checkout. So
Yeah, yeah,
I do
that
think they
is
should
true.
tell. But here's the thing, though: is it's your hotel. You're charging $450 for a hotel in a resort destination. I've never been there. I don't know where in the Philippines that is, but I feel like you want to make sure that you are giving your guest an amazing experience. And
Yeah,
to put pushed off on the OTA, I mean, this is a guess. This is a chance you have to turn something really negative into
yeah.
something amazingly positive. And I think the hotel kind of missed it on that one because
Well, and I think we have to consider what we're talking about here. It's hot water. That is something you're expecting when you're staying at a nice resort that you're paying a premium price for. So it's not like she's asking for the world. I mean, it's just hot water.
I,
I'm
are you joking? I want hot water.
No,
Oh,
I'm
I
guessing
thought you were like
that
it's. I thought you were talking about like it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm like, no, it's like a huge deal.
no, it's a huge deal. Yeah, I would be really upset.
they weren't really specific in the post. I'm assuming that they referred them to Expedia. I'm assuming that they booked through Expedia and that they were looking for a refund, and that's
Yeah, I
probably
could see
why
that
they
being the
directed
case.
them to that.
Yeah,
But I also agree that yes, that's probably not the way to go about it.
yeah,
I mean, they're obviously I don't. They weren't that specific in their post, so who knows
Hmm.
what happened at the front desk? But there could have been a whole other litany of things that the hotel probably could have done, even though they should have done it or should have contacted the front desk the moment that oh, there's no hot water in my room or shower or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we
I kind
can
of
give
feel
you
like
a full refund. We can do this, that type of
Right.
thing.
and if you're a resort hotel, there's a lot of things that do not have massive overhead for you that you can use to give the person an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Here's some vouchers for the cabana. Here's some vouchers for an amazing breakfast or whatever it might be, just to, kind of tide them over a little bit. So instead of pouring cold water on your guest.
Yeah. Good one. Wait, do you have that sound effect? A little
I
drum?
don't know if I have a drum roll. Let's see.
Why
Nope.
can't I see those on my screen? I want control of the sound effects.
There's a reason that I don't have you
Oh,
getting control
okay,
of the sound
okay.
effects.
Whatever.
All right. So, hey, we're going to go ahead and dive into the main topic of the day. And that's OpenAI's Chat GPT 4.5, which aims to revolutionize hotel marketing. So, kind of like we alluded to at the beginning of this show, AI is moving incredibly fast. And everybody should know at this point that your hotel has to have some type of AI strategies in place to make sure that you're keeping up with the market. Now, again, it's massive, space that we're all working in. You obviously have Chat GPT, you got Copilot, you got Gemini, you got Claude, you got Meta, you got a million different other type of AI platforms. We're going to just focus on OpenAI's Chat GPT for this episode, but we understand there's a lot of other ones out there that you can work back and forth with. And when I say that, it's kind of all happening pretty fast, and AI is moving fast. Just to kind of put this in perspective, it was June 2018 when OpenAI rolled out GPT-1. Nobody knew about it. It was a non-factor. February 2019, GPT-2 rolls out, starts getting a little bit more traction. GPT-3 rolled out in June in the middle of COVID, so a lot of people weren't necessarily paying attention to it. Really, after that is when I think the mainstream started saying, whoa, wait a minute, everybody's got to go all in on AI. March 2023 is when GPT-4 came out, when things started getting really interesting. That was actually the first time within at least OpenAI's ChatGPT, it would start looking at live web data. Prior to that, it was just looking at data from the past up to 2017, which was obviously not incredibly helpful for current events. May 2024, 4.0 rolls out, and then February of this year, just a month or so ago, GPT 4.5 came out. That's what we want to talk about today, is because it is pretty crazy what this can do. And if you haven't started using AI day to day, literally now is the time to start. And we're going to go over a couple of the reasons why. But before we kind of get into that, I wanted to go over a little bit of the problems that OpenAI has faced, which has kind of pulled people back. Some of those early adopters, I think they got a little bit jaded where it wasn't everything they wanted it to be. They had a lot of issues with reason and the systems getting confused. They had issues with what's called hallucinations, which is if you start working with the AI enough, it would just make stuff up. If it didn't know the answer, it would tell you whatever it wanted to and would really degrade people's trust in the platform. There was a lot of lack of transparency about where that data was coming from, what the data sets looked like, and how it was trained. It didn't have really any abstract reasoning or understanding of nuances in communication. And then lastly, there was a lot of cognitive bias. It didn't help that when GPT was launched, it was like the epitome of division in our society. You had elections, you had COVID, you had this and that. So there's a lot of people that had different opinions, and it did seem like AI at the time was biased in one direction or the other, which is always a problem. But then 4.5 came out, actually 4 came out, and then 4.5, and it is incredible. So like I'm saying a lot, get involved, start using it if you haven't already. And we're going to go through some of the specifics here in just a second. But if you would, Mackenzie, do you mind reading some of those things that GPT 4.5 has now while I take a sip of water?
Yeah, you got it. All right, give me 1 second.
Oh,
All
no,
right.
sorry.
No, you're good. Okay. What's new with GPT 4.5? So, what you can expect to see are much more natural conversations. You're able to go back and forth on a two-way communication with your GPT. Wildly expanded based on data. So, increased data that'll be factored into the model. Reduced hallucination rate. So, like Pete was talking about when chat didn't know what it was talking about and it would just spit things out. We're going to see a lot less of that, which is great. Advanced multimodal capabilities and more models for more specific uses, which I think is just super imperative as more and more people accept it. You need to adapt it based on your role and your specific needs. And it definitely has the capabilities to do so.
Yeah. And thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think that's kind of one of the things that has kind of taken 4.5 and taken it to an entirely different level. I mean, it is, in my mind, it is actually a completely different world than what we've been living in the past from a AI perspective. And because we had the ability to kind of go through some of the stuff specifically, I'm going to go ahead and pop up on my screen my instance of GPT, and I can kind of walk through some of those specifics with you here. If you're not watching on YouTube, no big deal. We'll be talking through all this stuff, but I would say definitely go check out the YouTube edition, which is at youtube.com. Just put ampersand TravelBoom marketing, and that will take you right here. So really the first thing that I would want to say is we're going to go over some best practices. The very first one is one long chat on a specific topic is going to be way better than a bunch of short ones. I mean, GPT is a learning model, so it's going to understand and it's going to have that conversational nature. So the more time you spend within one chat or one project or one custom GPT, the better your results are going to be. It's going to understand the data that you're looking for, and it's going to give you more of that versus data that may not be very effective. The next thing that's really from a best practices perspective is take the time to create a great prompt. We're starting to see where prompt engineers are becoming a very successful career, because if you're able to communicate with AI to get the data that you need, it does make you incredibly valuable. Just a couple examples of kind of what that a good prompt will look like is going beyond, hey, what are the top 5 things to do in Myrtle Beach? That's an example. Instead, you want to give the GPT a little bit of context. So GPT, in this case, for this chat, you are a mother of two kids, ages 9 and 14. You're going on vacation to Myrtle Beach in the summer, staying on the south end, and you're looking for 5 things that you can do with kids that are going to be free or very affordable. Please rank these using bullet points and cite links to the activities you want me to do. That's the one prompt. If you put that in, that's going to be way, 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 way better than just what are 5 things to do in Myrtle Beach, just as one example. So spend some time on creating a great prompt and you'll do much better. The next best practice that I have is to educate your GPT. Mackenzie, you and I were talking about it earlier. I kind of think of like as ChatGPT as that really, really smart friend you have that has absolutely no common sense and will just say stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's
That's
a great
kind of
analogy. It just needs a little nudge in the right direction and some guidance, but it's got the potential to do incredible things.
exactly. So just educate it. If you're working on, if you need your instance of ChatGPT to write emails for you, don't say, hey, write an email to Jeremy letting him know that he's awesome. Take 5, 10, 50 of your past emails, give it to ChatGPT so it understands your language, how you speak, the little nuances that you have in your communication, and then say, hey, write an email to Jeremy about how I think he's awesome.
Yeah, something we also chatted a little bit about earlier is using different tests and different information to really give chat a better understanding of who you are and how you speak. So, not just giving it examples of emails or writing or posts, whatever, giving it more background on who you are as a person so that it can really reflect that after you
Mm-hmm.
enter a prompt and get a response. So, that's something that I'm super excited to start implementing more and seeing how it affects my responses.
I thought that was actually really cool. We were talking about that earlier about loading in like your disc scores and
Yeah,
your personality profile.
Yeah, very
So,
cool.
yeah. And so we're talking about this from a personal perspective. This is incredibly important to do from a hotel perspective. So that's actually kind of what we're going to kind of go into is talking a little bit about how you can set up the different ChatGPT tools at your disposal to make sure you're getting good data back. And then the very last best practice is this is going to cost you $20 per month. Do not use the free version for a couple reasons. One, they say is if it's free, you're not the consumer, you're the product because they're using your data. If you have a paid subscription, the data that you put in is typically not used for the learning of the platform overall. That's actually really important. 2, it gives you a lot more power in terms of the types of systems that you can have access to, in terms of what data can be saved, how you can syndicate that to other people in your organization. It's $20. Pull out your card and make sure that is the very first thing you do. And if I had to redo this again, I'd probably spend $20 at the very beginning of it. All right, so from there, what we're going to do is actually look at specifically the different types of GPTs that are there. And if you're following along on YouTube, we've got ChatGPT 4.5 here. But what you'll notice is there's a lot of different options. There's 4.0, there's 0.1, there's 0.3 mini, and there's a ton of different models that you can use that all do stuff a little bit differently. So it's good to kind of get acquainted with these. Some of them, they'll give really fast responses, but they're brief. Other ones will give you really detailed responses, which I can show you in just a second here. But whichever model you do, I would say just make sure that you're getting educated about how it works. So that's the first thing you do is understand that there are different models. And the cool thing with ChatGPT specifically is if I want to look at all the GPTs that are out there, it's not just the single ChatGPT. You can access everything from, oh look, there's Expedia right there has an OTA has a GPT that you can use. There's video ones, there's image generating ones, there's there's content development ones, logos, all kinds of stuff. And I think a lot of people forget that it's not just Chat GPT in quotes, but it's all the GPTs that have been created and shared, which span the gamut of anything that you can think of. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. There's a lot of custom GPTs out there. But they also have something that is actually called a true custom GPT. This one's important, and this is the thing I think every hotelier should be doing after they finish listening to this episode. When you're in ChatGPT, you simply click on the Explore GPTs, and then you click Create. And from there, you can build your own language model that is based on web data, but also anything else that you add into the system. So, what we do is, pretend that you are a hotel. You can load in, and again, this is on the paid version, load in your marketing plan, load in your brand standards, load in personas that you're using, load in your financial records and your past, occupancy numbers, all that stuff. Because once that's in there and you work within that, that system's get more and more and more powerful, and it's going to understand exactly what you're looking to get out of it. So create a custom GPT, give it the instructions of what you want it to do, upload files to make sure it knows exactly what you do in your business, and that's going to make everything work a lot better. And then from there, you can dive into what are called projects. So that's kind of an easy way for you to kind of combine things into one central project. So as an example here, like for the hotel marketing podcast, as is the one that I'm showing right now, I can add files of past episodes. I can add the link to StreamYard or SoundCloud where the data is stored. And then I can simply ask it to, share different ideas for a podcast for harnessing the power of GPT 4.0 and 5 for hotels, which is literally what I did and how we got to the episode that we're doing right now. And the nice thing is, because I shared the data from our company with it, it makes that data much more relevant to what we're trying to do. So that's the next kind of the big takeaway, is understand the differences between GPTs, projects, all the different things that are out there. Spending some time in there is really, really helpful. All right, so we're going to move on to number 3. And then after 3, Jeremy, I'm going to turn it over to you for analysis, if you like. So you can look at that while I'm going through deep research. And that is actually the number 3 item, is deep research. So take advantage of those research capabilities that AI has. One of the coolest things that 4.5 came out with is a platform called Deep Research, which honestly, it just blows my mind that it's a thing. But when you're starting a chat, it's got a little button that says Deep Research. And when you click that, it gives you the ability to have AI do what would have cost you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for in the past. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. I asked the platform, and I'm going to show this to you right here. I said, for this chat, you are a hotel digital marketing expert with 20 years of experience with a special focus on independent hoteliers. Please create a research report detailing how the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina hotel market and golf market have worked together over the past 20 years to promote the area. Identify opportunities for improvement, as well as any internal conflicts in the market. Use bullets, cite sources, and specifically focus on Myrtle Beach. It took about 20 minutes, but it created a research report called Collaboration of Myrtle Beach's Golf and Hotel Markets, a 20-year overview. And actually, you can kind of see this on the screen here if you're following it, but it has a timeline of everything from Myrtle Beach Golf Holiday, which is called MBGH, in the mid-2000s. It goes through 2007 through 2009. It talks about the World Amateur Golf Tournament, which I remember working on back in the day. And all these items are sourced to the specific place that the data came from. Beyond that, what it did is it looked at other markets It says, okay, this is what Ocean City, Maryland is doing. This is what Scottsdale, Arizona is doing. It pulled all this together and put it into, when I took it out of here and put it into a Google Doc, it was around a 25-page report of the Myrtle Beach market for golf. Reason I did the Myrtle Beach area is I've worked here for so long, I kind of was able to spot check it to make sure it was accurate. And it is shocking how accurate this data is. So if you're a hotelier, think about this from your market's perspective, that you can go in here, you can do a research project that is really going to help craft and determine the direction that your marketing goes moving forward. It is straight up crazy. So that's one thing I say, is definitely look at, is spend some time on that deep research and put that as part of your GPT. Make sure you're doing it as part of a custom one, so you have this data that you can use on other chats to say, hey, reference this report that I created and give me 5 items that my hotel can be doing that I'm not currently integrated into my marketing plan. So yeah, data research is freaking amazing, and that's why I put it at number 3. So Jeremy, if you don't mind, I know I had data analysis as the number 4 thing. Do you want to kind of walk us through a little bit some of these items?
Yeah. So I actually would say that data analysis, aside from my daily use of GPT, in terms of helping me build out maybe a paid search campaign, finding new keywords for a campaign, finding topics for blogs. Data analysis is probably one of my favorite uses of ChatGPT. And I haven't had a whole lot of time to dive into 4.5. I have just used GPT, just 4.0 quite a bit by just using it for data analysis. And I know there is a GPT for advanced data analysis that I've used, and I've been really happy with it. And the thing that's really nice about it is how you can import spreadsheets. You can import Excel files, CSV files, and have GPT look it over and give you insights. And you can ask for where are we trending. Maybe you upload like a paid search, or maybe you have a paid media campaign somewhere and you're looking for, well, how are we trending, or where are we falling flat, where do we need to improve. And that's what's so awesome about GPT, is that you can upload a spreadsheet and it will analyze that data and give you feedback or recommendations based on your performance, or the performance that's in that spreadsheet. It's time saving. It's just super, super helpful when you are trying to identify, instead of just scrolling through a large spreadsheet of campaigns, and you can just spit it into GPT and it provides that information in just seconds. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't still be kind of, eyeing the response that GPT gives you. There is the possibility that it's not going to provide 100% correct information, but most of the time it's very good recommendations and feedback and insights. And when you are asking for things, or and another thing that I've done before is asking it to format things into spreadsheets. So if I'm building out something like a content calendar, or maybe like a roadmap, like a 3-month or an annual roadmap for SEO or something, I can say, hey, build me out a spreadsheet where I have one column is the month, next column is the task that I need to do for this month. The reason why I need to do this task is the next column, the due date, and it will create a spreadsheet with all that information for you that you can import or export, and you can just keep using and refining it and make it something that's your own, that's easy for you to use. Another thing that I know that GPT does as well is also, it will ask if it wants you to put things into a table or maybe into a graphic or something like that. There's been times where I've been researching for keywords for a campaign and asking it, what are the type of keywords that I should be advertising for the specific landing page? And then it will give me those keywords, and then it will kind of and it can categorize them, and it will give me a table of the categories of those keywords. And it's incredibly helpful, incredibly time saving. I mean, even just regular reports as well. It could be an internal report for your hotel or property. I mean, just uploading that into GPT and just asking for it for some basic recommendations or basic insights is also helpful, because it does have that ability to read a file and spit out that information that you're going to find useful.
What I like about it too is I think people forget that in terms of when you're communicating with AI, you can use human language. You can say, hey, I need this for a Google Sheet. I need this for a presentation or whatever it might be. Don't be afraid to say, oh, it came in a long string of text. That's what I got. No, let ChatGPT or whatever platform you're using do all the hard work for you. Like you said, just say, hey, please format it like this. Or please, if you upload another spreadsheet, say, hey, compare and contrast the data from my keyword report to revenue or my GA4 data and find out where I have opportunities.
Yep.
With the ability where the new 4.5 has a lot more or a lot less hallucinations, it's going to ask you probing questions to get to the data that it actually can deliver to you much better.
Yeah. And like you said, Pete, like don't act like that this, when you're, I guess, having a conversation with the AI, like don't act like that it's like some formal thing. I mean, just tell it exactly what you need. If it needs to be for a specific, like for a meeting or for a conference or for a presentation or for a slide deck or something, like be specific and ask for that. If that's what you need. And I think it does a pretty good job at formatting its answer based on what you're actually asking of it.
Yeah, and I think that's where the projects piece comes into it. And I'm excited to really tap into that a little bit more with my role, is creating different projects, and then it has that template to kind of go off of, and you can always reference back to it if you're continuing to work on something. Definitely recommend that. And yeah, I would echo everything that Jeremy just said. I think the more context you provide it, the better. So take the time to type in a longer prompt and you'll get a better response. And then that's less back and forth with questions, because sometimes it gets it right on the first try. So
most definitely. And, kind of to expand on that, I'm going to share the screen again here just to show the folks on YouTube kind of how that works. In this case, I asked it a simple question, define the differences between a custom GPT and a project. It gave me a bulleted list to start with. And then I said, okay, I want a quick comparison, create a table. It created the table just black and white. I said, okay, that's perfect. It gave me a summary. I then asked for a color-coded table to separate those items out a little bit more. And then last, I was like, you know what? Go ahead and give me a bar chart of this data. And it created a bar chart that ranked the importance of the usage of the platform, the feature, and it just did all this stuff like on the fly without requiring me to do anything. And I think that's what makes it so cool, is I can then, copy paste that into a presentation, or I could simply say, hey, this data is great. Please put this into a format that I can paste into a Google slide.
I think that's where a lot of people who are tentative to use it struggle, is it almost seems too good to be true. And it's just amazing once you start using it and finding different uses. It's pretty incredible how you can start implementing it on a day-to-day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like for the hotelier, like if we're specific in that regard, like not necessarily that it's data when you think of numbers, but a use case could be something like you're pulling in reviews, recent reviews from Google or TripAdvisor, or maybe you're pulling in reviews from your website or something, and just plugging that into GPT and asking for it for, hey, what are the trends here for this, and analyze this and give me some trends, and where are we falling flat, where are we hitting home runs and stuff. And I think that's a small use case, but that's something that an actual hotelier could potentially use, and then you use that, and then you take that and push it further, and you can find or push that into your actual marketing efforts or your just daily, on-site in-house efforts to improve just the overall hotel quality.
Yeah. No, that's completely correct. And on that same vein, if you're using a custom GPT that you build within OpenAI's platform, it has connections to outside data sources. So you can actually connect that to your PMS. You can connect it to your revenue management platforms and really then turbocharge that data, because it's getting real data from from your systems, your hotels, and it will tell you data that as a human you could never have identified. And I think that's really what the point is if you're not using this, you're going to be so far behind the hotelier down the street that is rolling up their sleeves and going all in on the AI platforms. So that kind of takes us to kind of the last segment, which is beyond ChatGPT. This is the kind of the last thing we kind of want to wrap up with, but it's not just ChatGPT. All of OpenAI, and I'm trying to keep it within OpenAI, they have DALL-E, which will help generate images. What you may not know, and I'm going to keep sharing my screen here, within ChatGPT, there's a platform called Sora, and you can literally create live videos of anything under the sun. So if you're watching this now, one of the top ones is a video of Albert Einstein at the gym. And I guarantee you, if you're watching this, you cannot tell that that is not a real person doing a workout. They have tons of videos. They have tons of tools that you can use. And it's all part of your OpenAI subscription. Like I said, for $20, you're getting a lot of value from this. So keep this in mind as you're going through and using the platform. There's so much more than just written text. One of the ways I use it all the time is I'll take that research project that we just did for Myrtle Beach Golf. I'll copy that, paste it into notebook.lm, and you can create a podcast of the piece of research that you did. So again, I don't know that this would actually show or is audible, but in this case, I dropped it in here, and I have a place where I could actually play this. I don't know if it will play on the air. If not, I'll drop it in later. That's not, you guys could hear that. So on the recorded episode, I'll drop that in, but it's a 25-minute podcast of two people, two AIs, talking back and forth with one another about, in this case, hotel versus OTA strategies for direct bookings. It's amazing what AI is able to do. And all it took was a couple minutes of my time to do that, which means on the drive home, I don't have to, just listen to the radio. I can actually digest an entire research report right off the gate. So that's pretty cool. So that's kind of what we have. Mackenzie, are you in the show notes? Would you mind going through some of the conclusion items we have?
Yeah, absolutely. So just a couple of high-level wrap-up points that we want to kind of conclude with. Obviously, things are changing now. They're evolving faster than ever. I mean, I was pretty impressed at the rate of which things have changed since ChatGPT 1 came out in 2018. I thought that timeline that Pete covered is pretty crazy if you think about it. So it's going to continue to scale and grow. Our main point, which Pete hit on a couple of times, and I completely agree, is pay the $20. Get the paid version. The benefits outweigh the costs. I definitely think seeing a paid subscription, you will see the benefits right away. Dedicate some time to learning GPT. And that's something that I'm going to practice as well. I think the more familiar you become with it, the more uses you'll find, and your searches will be better. Utilize best practices, such as the ones that we reviewed today. But obviously, this is not a new topic. There's a ton of content out there about AI. So definitely take some of that in and find what works for you. Take advantage of deep research, like Pete mentioned. I think that's one of the coolest aspects of ChatGPT specifically. turbocharge your analytics, and expand beyond GPT with some of the tools that Pete touched on, like Sora and Dolly, Notebook LM. There's so many out there, depending on what you're using it for. And lastly, as Tim Peters says, AI will not take your job, but smart people using AI will. And I've heard this quite a few times, and I think it's spot on. There's a lot of intimidation when it comes to AI, but I think we can all use it to make ourselves better and more efficient, no matter what we're doing, but especially in the hotel world. So that's my take on it.
Awesome. Well, cool. Thank you guys for helping me muddle through this episode. I think it's super important, and hopefully all the listeners will finish this podcast and then immediately dive in and start educating themselves and using it as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, we
So,
would love to hear some of the ways that you're using it in the hotel space. So feel free to drop us a note or leave a comment. Would love to hear how you're using it and if you have tips and tricks for us.
awesome. Well, hey, we're just about wrapped up, but we have one more segment that I am super excited about. It is 60 seconds for success. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this up. 60 seconds for success is pretend you're in an elevator. You have just 1 minute to share a tip or a trick to make someone's hotel marketing much more effective. The idea is we got to send something out quick. It's going to make your hotel marketing more effective, and you only have a minute to do it. So, Jeremy, right now you're stuck in the elevator. You have 1 minute, and somebody just asked you, hey, what can I do to make my hotel marketing more effective? Which is a weird conversation in a hotel, but they did it. And you're stuck in a hotel. So, are you ready? And when you are, I'll start this timer.
I'm ready.
All right, so we're going to find the timer, which is right here, and hit play.
It's not enough to create content just to stay active online. To really move the needle, your content should be genuinely valuable to your guests. So before writing a blog or a social media post, ask yourself, would this help someone plan their trip or get more excited about staying here? So with that, focus on topics like trip planning guides, seasonal travel tips, local itineraries, or hidden gem type content. This kind of content builds trust, it boosts time on site, and improves SEO, which Google rewards helpful content, and so do your guests in terms of improving your chances of more direct bookings. So at the end of the day, if it answers a real question or solves a traveler's problem, you're on the right track.
Oh man, you made it by like a mile. Still clicking, but I've lost my screen.
All right, give us more with the remainder of the time.
There we go. Okay.
Nice work, Jeremy.
Yeah. No way that was 60 seconds. I got to go into the platform and see what I screwed up. I thought that was awesome.
I definitely cut it down a bit.
Yeah. So yeah, it's tricky when the TikTok is going, and I think you handled it like a boss. So
it's a little intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we've all done it a few times. We're starting to get pretty good at it. So, but yeah. So no, I thought that was perfect. Anything else that you kind of want to add to that would have gone beyond 60 seconds?
No, I mean, yeah, just don't write content just to write it. Put yourself in the traveler's shoes, or I'm sure you've been a traveler before. If you're a hotelier, like think about what you would be searching or what you would be interested in learning about a place that you're wanting to visit, or maybe a hotel you're wanting to visit. Make it valuable to the guest, and think about the guest first, think about the reader first before you think about the SEO.
This is something I thought about too when you were saying that, is if you're not doing the best job of kind of showcasing the story of your area or your hotel on platforms like social media, I think it's especially important to do it on your website. Don't just do the generic room amenities. You've got to have something that kind of sells the area and sells your property. So totally agree with you.
Yeah, because you're not just selling your area. You're not just selling your property or educating. You're showing that guest what it's going to be like to be at the property. So what kind of hotelier are you? Are you the one that's at the front desk just handing out, a generic things to do sheet of paper? Or are you the hotelier who's, walking around the desk saying, hey, there's an awesome place to go here. I don't know if you've ever there's phenomenal, Tex-Mex food down the street. Nobody knows about it, but you're absolutely going to love it. And creates that connection and is a real resource to the area versus just someone who's, banging out AI generated
Yeah.
area content.
Yeah, do it on property, but also take advantage and do it beforehand on the website. Build that
Yep.
excitement and anticipation.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, cool. That was a good 60 seconds to success. If you're just tuning in to 60 seconds to success on either YouTube or LinkedIn, wherever you may be finding this, you really should check out the episode today. Today we were doing episode 101, or I'm sorry, what episode is this? 270 already?
270.
Yeah. Episode 270, where we talked about how hoteliers can make the most of ChatGPT 4.5 and all of the cool features. So go over to travelboommarketing.com/podcast to listen to that one. And with that, I think we're all wrapped up for the 60 seconds to success. We're going to go back to the regularly scheduled podcast now. At this point, we let the LinkedIn people scurry off to their LinkedIn corners and see if there's anything else left on the show, which I don't really think that there is. Mackenzie or Jeremy, anything last words of wisdom as we wrap up 270 here?
I don't think so. I mean, I have a lot of learning to do myself. I'd love to maybe do like a part 2 to this in a couple of months when we've seen new changes and new versions roll out. But I think for now, this is a good launch pad for 4.5. So
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, hey, if you guys want to learn more about TravelBoom, go to travelboommarketing.com. We specialize in helping independent hoteliers succeed online, and we would absolutely love to do the same thing for you. We've got a track record, and we'll make sure that we put more heads in your beds and make your hotel successful. That's all we got. So until next week, TravelBoom is out.
out.